Welcome to Virtual Coffee with Dawn Rickabaugh, the Note Queen, where we talk about owner financing and notes. Financial solutions, one mom and pop to another.
So Sean, in the few minutes that we have, what do you think I can do for you to move you along a little bit in?
And so what I was wondering is, one thing I picked up from you was that I had heard about selling partials, but I need cash flow. And you had mentioned that you could sell a partial, but still keep like half the cash flow. And I didn't know how you do the math on that.
Well,
that was one of my questions.
Hey, that's a great specific question. I love your story, and your situation is very common to people that have been for a while. And it's such a great tool. Not that rent can't be great, but I think diversifying a portfolio, is really nice. And, when you're managing enough of a note portfolio, some of that paper turns into property through default right. But for the most part, if you do your underwriting, then as you must have done on your, did you carry on a property that you had sold or buy someone else's note?
Yes. No, I sold a property for my dad, and he just basically just assigned the note to me because I did all the work, and
nice.
We had an agreement. But we basically just drew up a note where she put down it was a property that you couldn't get a bank loan on. So
non-conforming somehow.
Yeah, very, very, very non-conforming.
Yeah,
I'm still holding the note.
Yeah, well, great. I mean, most people, if they really stop and think about it, they need cash flow more than a big chunk of change, because when you get a big chunk of change, then you're like, well, what am I going to do with it? So if you have an insta investment, it's better than most people can do, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. What's the interest rate on that owner carry note, just out of curiosity?
So it's 6%. Because it's in California, and I just can't drive the interest rates up high to here. Seems like.
if you increase the interest rate, you'll have to decrease the price on the home, things like that, because people are willing and able to afford so much. So it depends on the price point a lot. I mean, right? For the most part. So that's fantastic. That's a great return. I don't know that a lot of people are getting that. Just nobody is just leaving it in their their bank or a CD or something like that. So
right, yeah.
And then if you factor in the price differential of what your father probably bought the property for and what he sold it for, the actual yield.
Oh well, no, that's ridiculous, because he bought it for like $5,000 back in the '60s.
So even though what'd you sell it for?
It was around $250. I can't remember the exact price.
Oh my goodness. So, wow, that's kind of like the move in Bitcoin, there last year. So,
well, it's California between 1970 and 2015 is huge difference.
Oh yeah, fantastic. So when you factor in the, that capital or equity, I mean, your yield's probably, I don't know, 60% on this thing. I don't know. I'm just I don't remember, but all right. So going to partial. So you've got this note and it's been performing well and easily, correct? No headaches.
Right.
This money's just coming in. And you're going, gosh, I need some of the money, but I could use some cash for what? Some other investment or some need that
what I want to do is I've been liquidating my rentals in order to start a loan business, just be a private lender, and I want to lend out of state. And right now I'm looking at like Missouri and Texas and Georgia because I have connections there, and because I can't get the same return here in California. So what I was thinking of is, if I could somehow structure a partial note sale where I'm still getting some cash flow, I could use the cash to go buy something in another state where I could then increase that note business.
So you're going to be moving to private lending, not necessarily buying the house and doing owner carry, or both?
Either way, I mean, I'm willing to buy a house and then do owner carry, and I'm willing to just buy a note. I just don't want to be a landlord. I don't believe in that anymore.
Yeah, you got a
No,
different.
there's a whole philosophical thing about the person living there
Right.
as a tenant, not caring about the place and having to pay this rent, and they don't like you and they resent you, and versus allowing someone to become a homeowner. It's just a whole different thing, and you know that because you write about it and talk about it. So
Right. That's that's phenomenal. So all right, well, let's talk about that. If you're gonna, so I think of all of the things, I would guess between those, buying a note, an owner carry note existing, and being a private lender for other people, most likely rehabbers, things like that, business purpose loans is what I'm assuming, thinking, and then buying a house and carrying paper. I would say the easiest of those, the plethora. There's a plethora of, I would say, a lot more available to buy a house and do owner carry, and to work with maybe a loan broker over in those areas. Those
right.
opportunities are going to be a lot more plentiful. It can be really difficult. You really have to focus, usually quite a bit, if you just want to focus on buying owner carry paper. And you can go through, brokers. Like I mostly buy notes and keep a spread on almost everything that comes through my office, but sometimes I just, pass on a note and get out of the way and take a fee. So, but, it's easier to broker long after you've been a note investor for a long time than to go the other way around. That's what I found. But anyhow, so I would say that if you're making a loan, if you're just going to be a lender, there's so much opportunity. You talked about leveraging other people's money, correct? Like,
Right.
some of my money and more of other people's money, and just, get these operations going. And I'm not going to speak to the licensing or the legal things in terms of, I'm not an attorney. And so you'll have to do your due diligence if there's any regulations. But if you go through a hard money lender, you don't charge the points, but you get the deals, right? So they might bring you a 9, 10, 11, 12% private loan opportunity that you can, you won't be charging 1, 2, 3 points on that loan. But, if you leverage other people's money, I often say that.
You've been listening to Virtual Coffee with Dawn Rickabaugh. For more, please visit notequeen.com.